Hey everyone.
Hey there.
Hello, hello.
I had pinged Chen Yi from the Intel side to join, who's the author of those RAM discard manager patches to, be, to enable the device pass-through case. I wanted to get an update from him on the next steps there. It'll give him some more time to join. Um, I do see one new name, but so I'll do the intros again. So this is the device security call where everybody who's interested in enabling endpoints or host platforms can have a voice call periodically to check in and make sure we're all aligned on where we're going. This is recorded, and everything we say in here is expected to be the same thing you would say on the mailing list, with no concerns about anything confidential. So yeah, so this is a voice mailing list. So at the beginning of this, I usually, if people are new, if you want to, you can raise your hand, come off mute, introduce yourselves, and just state your interest in participating in this kernel enabling effort for secure devices. So I'll open the floor to that first before we jump into the more discussions.
I guess I should introduce myself. My name is Dave Quigley. I work at Intel along with Dan. I work on device enablement for confidential compute on our compute devices.
Welcome, Dave. Anyone else? I think that's the all the new names. Okay, let me ask. I just see Chow join. Chow, do you know if Chen Yi's going to be able to make it?
Chao?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Chen Yi will join this meeting. I'm not sure he
Okay.
will right here.
Okay. We can move on to other things, and while he give him some more time.
Yeah, he has some login issue. I'm not sure.
Okay. So let's go to something. Let's go to the next thing. So the agenda was pretty light, unless somebody added some things they wanted to talk about to the list. I see somebody typing in there now, but uh, yeah, I'll open the floor to opens, but otherwise, I had two things I wanted to talk about, and if we run out of things to talk about, we don't have to stay here the whole hour. But any open topics? Okay, no opens. So while Cheney's getting online, double. I didn't see. I see the BOF schedule is posted on Linux Plumbers. I didn't see the TIO next session get posted there. I'm okay to discuss that in this call. We can do it in the hallway track at Plumbers. We don't need an official session, but since it's not on the list, I was going to introduce that topic here, unless you know something I don't know.
I was under the impression you were copied to the last email where I think they told us that we could have any of the sessions on the last day, that they did not have any openings on the first 2 days.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so maybe we'll get that schedule. Is it waiting on me to pick a day?
Yeah, let's go back to that email. Dan with the LPC committee and figure out when we want to have it.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So if that's going to happen, then we can wait until then.
I mean,
I
and just as an aside, do we have like an idea of how many folks from this call will be coming to LPC? Show of hands or something. I think Zoom allows you to do that.
Reactions. Oh, cool.
Also gives us an idea of how many are actually listening to us right now.
Tom, so just that 4.
I mean, I know there are at least 2 more names on this list that I recognize who will be there.
Oh, no Google people there. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Vishal and Jerome.
Vishal and Jerome.
Jerome Gleese, right? Or Gleese. That'll be. I mean,
yeah,
so
Jerome Gleese.
okay. So I think I'll quickly introduce it, and then I'll check in and see how Chenyi's doing on connecting. But this is just observing that the water pressure, the volume of changes that going upstream is a larger pipe than the merge pipe, which is natural and okay. I think it would be useful to help but not take over. Tracking these patches across vendors, especially for these common cross-vendor patch sets, to put them in a staging tree like Linux Next, where every vendor can just post their patches. Somebody like I'd step up to try to get that coordinated, get it going, just build it and post it, and at any point in time, there is a next branch that people can say, yeah, this is the QEMU that everybody kind of agrees on. This is this is the kernel that everybody has all their stuff in for people to try stuff out, and that I would hope that is an aid to Paolo and the Shans and the others, and so they can see, hey, this stuff has been assembled in some form, and multiple vendors agree that this is the current proposal. So it will be as bleeding edge and radioactive as Linux Next, but at least it's hey, we're not. Are you running the Intel QEMU or the AMD QEMU or the RISC-V QEMU? Like it's a combined thing. But we can talk more about that at Plumbers. Let me see. Chenyi, are you online now? Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say, to phrase it slightly differently, Dan, it's let's avoid the GMEM story, which we've had for PDX and SMP, and let's anticipate that and come ahead of that.
But for people that were, I'm not immediately familiar with the GMEM story. What's the GMEM story, real quick?
Oh, I mean, we at AMD were ready with SMP host support a while back. We did not need GMEM, but GMEM was the cleaner approach. And as a result, we kind of waited a while to get that sorted out. So instead, having early cooperation and identifying some of these potential bottlenecks in a common tree would be much more preferable as opposed to adding a few more years to that development effort.
Yeah. The one service I see that this can add without. I mean, I would ask Paulo to do it, but I don't want to burden him. But I noticed that like the KVM Coco Q branch, it doesn't like Linux Next. You can go to yesterday's Linux Next or the day before. It's tagged and snapshotted back in time, so you can watch it go. or you can get back to older builds, but I don't think KVM CocoQ has that. And so like we've seen cases where, hey, KVM CocoQ regressed from yesterday, but there's no way to get back to and see kind of what changed there. So at a minimum, this would be a service that just snapshots and tags and just makes it easy to find from day to day, like what is some approximation of latest. Just add a bit more helpful discipline around that so people can go back in time. Any other questions?
That
Is this
does
what you're
sound very
referring
useful indeed. Sorry, go ahead.
Are you referring to this as TEEIO next? Is that what you're referring to here?
That's what I'm. Yeah, TEE to make it generic, and yeah, some company decided to name their solution TIO, which is not fun. and the spec called it TEEIO. But anyway, yeah, this is the generic everybody branch. Okay. So yeah, what I'd hoped, not to put you on the spot too much, Chenny, but I wanted to see if you could talk about the reaction to your patch set and any help you need to answer questions, things that are still blocking it. Do we need to solve the page size problem first? Things like that. So can you speak to some of that, Chenny?
Okay. So recently I posted the shared device assignment patch to the Qemu mailing list. So I only get some comments from David. My patch was to enable the shared device assignment, which wants to assign a device to a confidential guest, and where the device can issue DMA to the shared memory. So currently in Qemu, Apollo's commit blocks the shared device assignment due to a problem when enable this because of the stale IOMMU mapping issue. So our patch was just want to fix this stealing IOMMU mapping issue. So our patch set was aimed to notify the VFL system to update the IOMMU mapping on page conversion upon via a RAM discard manager interface in the Qemu. So and until now, only some comments from David.
David Hildebrand?
Yeah.
Okay.
So first, I will say I will list some opens or concerns in our in the patch review. The first thing is the RAM discard related to the RAM discard manager interface, because this interface was introduced in Volatile MEM, which aims to notify, which was aimed to notify the VFL system to update DMA mapping on the memory plug and unplug. So we think it is similar to the page conversion on private and shared memory. So we want to reuse this interface but we also consider there is some changes in its semantics because memory plug and unplug is different from the memory private and shared. It will hit some problem when the RAM discard manager users want to handle some private memory in future. For example, the live migration code or potentially the VFL, but VFL to handle private memory, but it's still, I think it's still uncertain. So yeah,
But so question about this. But the direction that the patch takes is that it assumes that there's only one RAM discard manager and that you can't, that the VirtIO mem case is disabled. Is that the current assumption, that you turn that off to use this?
yeah, currently only one I think it's only support one RAM discard manager in one VM. If there are two RAM discard manager instance, it will report warning, or it will exit the report error and exit. But so if in future we want to support volatile mem in confidential VM, so there could be some problems. Yeah, I think this is some virtual future work. I think it's at least we just want to reuse this interface yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so we raised the semantics change related to RAM discard manager in our cover letter. So, and David gives comment. He thinks the using RAM discard manager should be okay, but the RAM discard manager users should add a special handling for private memory in some untraditional way. For example, live migration code cannot just skip a private memory, like the unplugged memory. It should add more handling to support live migration code. Yeah. So yeah,
Tim, are you sharing your screen?
Okay. Let me share my screen.
Okay, so I'm not sure if you want to share something. Yeah, if you don't,
I can share. Yeah, just there some. Let me try what to share. Maybe share can make it more clear. Okay, can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Sorry.
Oh, there it goes. Yep.
Yeah, I just list some review status here. So just mentioned the first is the RAM discuss manager semantics change due to the private memory private is different from the memory unplugged. So they should be treated in, so private memory should be treated in untraditional way. Yeah, so this is one comment, and the other one is the granularity of the DMA mapping. Because of the VFL restriction, all the map and unmap operations are performed with 4K granularity. 4K, because so this is due to the VFL restriction. So we have to split the whole range into 4K page and do the DMA map and map. This will bring many, for example, runtime overhead and the memory overhead, because each entry will allocate some structure to for each DMM entry, and yeah. So for this issue, I think we still don't have some solution or mitigation for this.
Is this, but are you saying that in order to solve this, we need to fix a fundamental problem with VFIO where it doesn't allow huge page mappings? Or is this, well, actually, before you answer that question, let me honor the raised hand first. Alexei, go with your question first.
Well, the actual limitation is that a map operation should match the map operation. So if you can map gigabyte in one call, and there will be a small descriptor for this gigabyte mapping in VFIO PCI driver. So if you want to unmap, you either have to ask for unmapping exact same gigabyte, or you have to hack VFIO driver on the host to split the huge mapping into a bunch of small mappings and unmap what was asked. And so it's one solution to the problem. The other one would be, say, add something in paravirtual interface. So when the guest does DMA, map, DMA, unmap, and then it does set encrypted, set unencrypted, it could say in this set encrypted paravirt call that it's for DMA. So then QEMU wouldn't have to split DMA map operation in 4K chunks, because it can kind of sort of rely on the driver to unmap what it previously mapped, right?
Right.
And if it's not for DMA, then page state change doesn't necessarily have to trigger VFIO mapping. But that means you need paravirtual interface to tell it's for mapping. So,
but this gets back to, like, in terms of trying to build the simple thing first and then make it more complicated. Like, would it be prohibitively bad to say that the guest must map and unmap, and the guest must must cooperatively do the same thing with page conversions. I mean, I do understand that we eventually want to get to the point where somebody can mix and match these things, but it just seems like something that we want to be strict and simplify.
we can tell the guest should behave and map what it mapped exactly, but we just cannot tell in QEMU that this page state change operation is because of DMA or because guest wanted to share something with the host, but not with the device. We don't have these distinctions. You can share 8 pages and then make one page private. And it's not for DMA, but QEMU doesn't know. So if someone told QEMU it's for DMA, then easy, done.
Okay. So matching the mapping size is not the problem. It's conveying the type of the mapping independently.
That's how I see it. Yep.
So you mean introduce some PV interface between guest and the host, right?
I mean, it is there. It's called page state change. In AMD, it's VM exit to QEMU to do the change of page state. We could add a flag, some sort, to say it's for DMA.
Okay.
But without that, I mean, so going back the other way in terms of getting something going that we can complicate later, it's high overhead and it's not performant. But to get the functionality going, we can say that everything is 4K only to start. Is that a toy? Like, do we need to solve that, get that flag in there now? Because even if we built this 4K restriction, it would be laughably unperformant to the point where it's not even usable.
It's not as much as performance issue. It's more that for every mapping, the FIO keeps this small structure called, I don't know, call it descriptor of a region. And the limit is like 500,000 of those. So if you want to run, like, I don't know, 0.5 terabyte a guest, you quickly run out of this limit. So you need to change QEMU, or is it in the kernel? I don't remember.
Is that a runtime? Is that a runtime limit, or is that like a compile time
I
limit?
think it's compiled.
Oh.
Is this also a limitation? Like, do you need to store this information for every page, or just pages that kind of could possibly be used for DMA?
No, what I'm talking about is descriptor of actual mapping in the FIO on the host. So if you map the entire guest and you split in 4K pages, in 4K chunks, then for each and one of them, you'll have this small structure.
Okay. Shall we go on?
Yeah. So, but actually, one more question for Alexei. Do you have a draft patch of that flag to start that discussion of?
No.
Or no? Okay.
Haven't tried it really. Since I'm hacking on both, I can try and tell how it goes. Yep.
It might be useful. Yeah, and yeah. Okay, Cheney. Yeah, keep going.
Yes. Yeah. Only these two comments, and another one is one alternative mentioned by David. He mentioned this in-place private and shared conversion discussion when they discussed about supporting the huge page in gas MMFD. They discuss about this feature, and it will let the gas MMFD manage both private and the shared memory. And so the IOM page tables could be managed by KVM in kernel without user space intervention. Then I think if this feature is introduced, and then the change would be in QEM instead of QEMU. So I think this topic will be discussed in the Linux Plumber conference meeting. Yeah.
Is it proposed there, or you want it to be discussed, or is it already on the schedule?
It's already in the schedule, and
yeah, there should be. I think there's one on.
Yeah. So.
Go ahead. Oh, Deval, what did you say? You said it's already on the schedule?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll send a link on Discord once I'm back home.
Okay.
Yeah. So if this feature is introduced, maybe this is a new trend, and maybe our solution will get changed. So the next step, do we still need to stick to the RDM RAM discard manager solution in QEMU, or we should wait for this in place private shared solution and follow this trend, or we first push this solution and later get a change if this new feature and this new solution get merged, and we change to this new trend. So this is still one problem, I think.
So Intel has this branch we call not a very unique name. It's called the device pass-through tree, but it's basically our snapshot of latest TDX enabling, latest QEMU with all the kind of ABI things figured out. I mean, so I think until we have the KVM decision in hand, like I think we need to. I think the RDM solution is all we have. But I guess your question is like, do you continue to push on this,
Yeah.
or wait until we get the KVM decision? Who's leading this topic at Plumbers on guest MemFT changes? Anybody know?
I remember that. Let me find some link.
And is it in the KVM microconference or the confidential computing microconference?
Let me find some link.
I'm looking here too. Guest MemFT roadmap? No.
Yeah, guest memory roadmap. The first topic here. And this is the mentioned the topic is this. It's just this guest memory roadmap introduction. The first topic in place replacement and the user and map of shared pages.
I think Paolo is leading the guest MFD talk.
Yeah.
And then Vishal is talking about 1 gig pages for guest MFD.
Yeah, I kind of feel like if Paolo is the one who's going to have to judge this patch and is also the one proposing that we go this other direction, that.
I mean, all of this is also linked together with this the PCI pass-through right now for confidential computing. And I know we were talking about it internally as well, how to make progress. So I imagine, Mike Roth, who's also attending LPC, will be involved in that discussion.
Okay, but what I'm saying in terms of how hard should Chenye push on the RDM approach, the discrete manager approach, and my read is not very hard if Paulo is actively trying to get this new interface into KVM. Now, but this proposal, what does it mean for migration and BirdIO MEM integration? Do we still need? Are we still going to need the discard managers to be aware of that anyway? Or is this going to be, or is that detail going to be taken away from them and they can stay unmodified?
I think at present, if we don't want to enable the fertile MEM in confidential VM and for the live migration, I think I don't know if the migration maintainers will know it, but we discuss it internally at least to enable the live migration in confidential VM. Yes, they should. I think they should be notified about this change if they want to enable that migration in future. Well, depends on this RDM framework.
Okay. Yeah, I think in terms of like it's going to be the case, especially if we start managing it at a kind of a TEIO next branch. There's going to be proposals in there that don't make it upstream, but enable testing and building solutions in the meantime. Because the reason device pass-through is important is because we need to have this concept of being able to recover devices, convert devices, convert them late, recover them from error cases. So this shared device pass-through is going to be a first-class citizen. Like it's going to be part of enabling trusted devices. So for me, like yes, I think we need to monitor this discussion, and then that may be the final upstream solution, but that we would keep this warm and running in some kind of next branch in the meantime. But yeah, I'm open to other opinions, but like that, I think it's about the best we can do without getting Paulo to show up in this meeting and give his opinion.
I think, do we need to ping Paulo in mailing list for this QMU patch, for this RTM patch?
So I mean, did you copy him on the submission? I mean, yeah, like I think it's totally worth it to just ask in the patch, say, hey, Paulo, here's my patch, but I see you have this other solution. Like, what's your opinion? Like, I think it's totally fair to ask him
that. Okay, so maybe I can add, him ping him like this way.
Yeah, if he wasn't already on the CC list for the patch in the first place.
If it's a QMU patch for KVM, it would have to go through him anyway. So even if he's not CC'd, he probably is looking at the mailing list.
But is he? But this isn't for KVM. This is just a pure
QMU, right?
Pure QMU patch.
Right, but I think he maintains the KVM bits of QMU. And isn't this? But yeah, it would still help just pinging him on the mailing list, bringing it to his attention.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he does merge like KVM related QMU stuff.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm a fish out of water on the KMU side, trying to become a fish in the water, but in terms of who reviews what parts of QMU relative to KVM. But yeah, I'll take. But if Paulo's about to make the RDM approach obsolete, yeah, then definitely get his attention on it as soon as you can.
Okay.
Because of what I still think is out there is the fact that he hasn't commented on it yet. Was there? I saw one thread where his assumption was like, oh, we don't need to worry about device pass-through, shared device pass-through, because TEIO solutions from these different host vendors will solve that problem. Like all devices will be private anyway. Why do we need to worry about this? And I think that's the discussion that we need to have. Is like, no, we think shared device pass-through is part of enabling trusted device operation.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you ping him, I think I'm already copied on that. Yeah, but copy me too, and we can have that discussion.
Okay, I will reply in my patch set directly and then ping him. Yeah.
From my side, the next steps I had on the TSM driver was I have the beginnings of a unit test that doesn't require QMU and it's host platform agnostic, and I'm hoping that lets us run through some ABI tests. I'm gonna look and see if I can get this fake thing all the way through, fake it out all the way through VFIO. That's next, but we have a fake PCI bridge that's has a fake device behind it and pretending to have TIO capabilities. So that's it has that basic signs of life. But this is in no way meant to discourage any effort that if anybody's working on, I know some people are working on QEMU emulation of this stuff. Please keep going. That will also be a useful test bed. But I think we need this focused unit testing in the meantime.
And is this unit test going to be available in this brand new PIO Next branch sometime soon?
Or even propose upstream, yeah. But so I'm thinking for TIO Next that the only way this can work is if it's the same as Linux Next, where everybody just posts their current latest, and somebody runs through, does all the merges, and then complains when things conflict or tries to solve them, and then posts a branch. So it should be the case that nobody has to worry about having write access to this thing. It's just like you post your branch, it gets in. And if it causes problems and doesn't pass tests, then we just notify about it, because that property of Linux Next seems really useful. But yeah. So but that the kernel side of that unit test emulation is will be in the next posting. But don't expect it to be that impressive. I think about all it does is light up some sysfs attributes, so you can pretend to connect things. But it's a start. But Chenny, like any other questions you had or things you wanted to go through?
No. I will stop my sharing.
Okay, that was really useful to get. Yeah, I hadn't realized that there was a kind of a replacement approach in the works, so that's good. So while we were talking, did anybody come up with any other opens that they want to talk about? I did. While you're thinking of that, and you can raise your hand. We do. I did get the schedule meeting scheduled out through the rest of the year. It looks like we have one more in August on the 30th. It's at the wrong time. I asked the Linux Foundation to move that to the 9 a.m. slot. But then I said, don't have any meetings in September because everybody will be traveling in Vienna. And then after that, we would meet back up again in October.
Oh, so the move to 12 noon was on purpose?
It was not on purpose. It was an accident. So I have them
okay.
Move it back to where it was.
Okay, thank you.
Alexei.
So I assume there are still no patches to pass through to these devices on Intel, right? No patches in mailing list.
No patches in mailing list. Yeah, right.
Okay.
Right. But I'm hoping that that's also a another goal of this unit test framework is that we can upstream the core infrastructure across for a generic implementation, and also compare that to the AMD TIO implementation and start doing that.
And when you say TSM framework, you mean your TSM or my TSM? And your is TSM report, right?
I mean the last TSM driver I posted, that TSM. So like the PCI core drivers PCI TSM.c.
Oh, right. So TSM report. Got it.
Well, the TSM report stuff, that's this strange attestation thing that just spits out attestation reports and things. But no, the TSM driver is what coordinates like the connect, bind, all those other verbs. Oh, which reminds me, have you taken a look at Lucas's measurement collateral kind of SysFS interface that he has for CMA? We got some good feedback from Dave on the call, who said, yeah, hey, we need this interface to dump everything, because the verifier is not going to go out slot by slot. The verifier is probably going to look at all of the measurements. Did I
did have a look, and all the SysFS nodes, they're created for PCI devices, but from libspdm, which is like outside of PCI subsystem, really. So since my stuff is not using any of libspdm and only SysFS interface, then I would have to mimic what Lucas does, but in a different place, or extract that bit from libspdm, which creates SysFS, to reuse in my module. So there is some bike shedding.
There's some bike shedding, but the idea is not that you would need to interface with libspdm, because it doesn't make sense, because all the SPDM stuff is hidden behind the TSM TDISP interface. But that the user space interface, we're saying, I want to get the measurements for a PCI device, that SysFS location would be the same thing, but that the implementation behind it would be totally different. So instead of in the native case, it goes and talks to this libspdm thing that's part of the core kernel. In the TSM
Correct.
case,
we just need to decouple SysFS from libspdm now. That's the next step.
Yep. That decoupling. I don't want to put you on the spot, Dave, because you're brand new to this call, but your request seemed valid and useful, and I don't know if I'm doing it justice in terms of the interface you'd like to see from the kernel to just get basically, it looks like you want like kind of an omnibus report of everything interface. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes. The idea is good. Sharing is caring.
no, but I mean, Lucas currently has it all. Like, I think it's pretty much slot by slot, and I think the verifiers we're thinking about for the TSM case they're going to want all the measurements and the transcript in just kind of one big blob. And I'm trying to make sure that that's an interface that everybody else wants as well.
Well, maybe not transcript.
Not transcript.
Which is basically every packet, right?
Right.
Which is, I mean, I can store those.
Don't you need the transcript to verify the signature of the report?
Yeah, I thought you needed the transcript.
Yeah.
So, but that's the plan. That's the feedback, and it's basically going back to Lucas and making sure that we have either an alternate format, because I think he was kind of focused on, wouldn't it be great if you could just pipe SysFS files directly to OpenSSL, which I think is an idea, useful native case. I think for verifiers, they're probably going to want it in a different format, so they can verify the signatures and do all this in one big kind of collection.
When you say format, Dan, are you talking about the report format or Like the packaging of all the measurements.
The packaging of all the measurements.
Isn't that coming from the device?
It's coming from the device, but like I think the but it's coming.
The device could choose its own format for the report, right? The spec does not mandate a given format today.
Correct, but the device, but SPDM does split things into like multiple slots.
Correct. SPDM uses DMTF format, but we could choose a completely different format. The current we are trying to move to EAT format, right? That's not an SPDM spec today.
Right.
So I think device is free to choose his own format.
Yeah. Basically, what I'm saying is I don't want the kernel to get in the way of that format. That I don't want. If Lucas's patches are assuming a certain DMTF format from the device, that we shouldn't be assuming that. We should just be
Correct.
basically giving a pipe that's like this is the measurement blob, and somebody else cares about kernel should not care about this.
Correct.
Well, there is some format of these measurements in TDISP spec, in one of the specs.
It's an SPDM spec, not in TDISP. The SPDM 1.2 says it's DMTF format, but there's a push to add EAT format in SPDM 1.4.
I heard EAT and DICE. What's the difference?
EAT is a format, it's a token format. Right, and there's a DMTF. DMTF is it has multiple slots. EAT is where you're adding semantics to the measurements.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, but I think the takeaway from this call is we're going to figure out a way to have verifiers be able to get directly what they need.
Right, and the verifiers could also be remote, right, Dan? So,
what role? I had a discussion come up, and I couldn't do the answer justice. Like, what role do you expect the device driver? Does the device driver need to?
no, it does not need to. Yeah.
As long as the TSM driver can get the interface report and whatever format it is, and pipe it out. The device driver doesn't need to doesn't need to have a look at that. It just needs to be able to re-trigger measurement collection. But it doesn't actually need the driver's not going to be involved in.
Correct. Yeah, it's just a pass through. Yes.
Okay.
It doesn't even need to go through the device driver, right? It could be from the PCA layer.
Right. Yeah. Like the only role of the device driver that just kind of restating out loud what my understanding of it is that the device driver may take actions like loading firmwares that change the measurements to where the verifier might want to see that those things were loaded, or the verifier might care about a measurement of collection after the driver is loaded, but the driver is otherwise not involved. It's just changing measurements, maybe.
Yeah, the driver could be triggering an event that could impact the measurement. The verifier can come in later and go fetch the new measurements to verify.
Yep, that's all fine. Okay. Other than those topics, I didn't have anything else. So I'll do a last pause for urgent opens. But otherwise, we will see you in a couple weeks, and then hopefully see some people at Plumbers as well. As far as I know, Plumbers it's unlimited virtual registration. So even if, well, don't quote me on the unlimited, but I know that I think there's still virtual attendance is still open. So if you want to be involved in some of these discussions, I would check out that option as well. Cool. Other than that, we will talk to you all next time. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Dan. Bye.
Thanks, Dan.
Bye.